Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, May 26th, and I'm your host, Brian Boudreau. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. This week on Norwood News, we hit the Norwood Airport tarmac for a special event. Ron Marshalsea updates us on the last week of the regular season for spring sports. But first, the town of Norwood recently announced via social media that it's looking for help from the community to help form a town master plan. General Manager Tony Mazzucco explains what a master plan is and why it's so important to update this document.
So it's one plan to rule them all, as we sort of say. Government is always doing different plans and different studies and looking at different things. A master plan ties it together and really asks the community, where do we want to be in 10 years? It's kind of like a life plan, but for the community. And it's important because it's going to map out where we're going to go, and it's going to let all the different boards and committees in town, all the town staff and the residents know that and start working towards that plan. It looks at things like municipal facilities. It looks at things like parks and open space, housing and how we're going to address those challenges. It looks at zoning from a very high level of where do we want to develop, where do we want to grow, how do we want to grow, and what do we want that to look like. We've done master plans before. Back in the early 1920s, we did forms of master plans that led to a lot of how the town looks today and how it's built out today. We continue them about every 10 years, which is the norm for communities, except we stopped sometime around the late 1980s, early 90s. We haven't done a town-wide master plan since, and we're looking to bring that back to make sure we have one town-wide plan to try to work out how we're going to look and how we're going to build over the next 10 years.
Chairman of the Norwood Board of Selectmen, Matt Lane, explains how the community is a big part of the planning stages and how residents can get involved.
So the master plan is really all about community engagement, public engagement to help us determine where we want to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And so in my role as chairman of the Board of Selectmen, along with the town moderator and the chairman of the planning department, we're able to appoint a steering committee. And the steering committee consists of 11 individuals, 5 of which will be from various boards in town: the Board of Selectmen, the Planning Board, the Zoning Board, the Conservation Commission, and the Economic Development Commission. And there'll be 6 at-large community members chosen. And we're taking applications now for those 6 positions. We're looking for a wide variety of individuals and interests and backgrounds. There are certain aspects of community development that if you have a background in transportation or development or zoning, that's helpful for this committee. But really, if you live in town and you're engaged and you have a vested interest in the future of the town, please submit your resume, submit your letter of interest, and we'll definitely get back to you. So if you go to the homepage of the town website, there's a tab for the master plan and talking about just a synopsis of what it is. And then the email address for submitting a resume and letter of interest is masterplan@norwoodma.gov.
Norwood Community Media will continue to follow the development of the master plan and keep you, the viewers, updated every step of the way. The Morrill Memorial Library has established an author series that is being presented in memory of avid reader Stuart Plumer, who served on the Board of Trustees for 33 years. The author series will feature best-selling and award-winning authors who will discuss their latest books. Last week, author Mitchell Zuckoff sat with Library Director Clayton Cheever and discussed his latest book, The Secret Gate, a true story of courage and sacrifice during the collapse of Afghanistan. The book recounts the incredible true story of a breathtaking rescue in the frenzied final hours of the U.S. evacuation of Afghanistan and how a brave Afghan mother and a compassionate American officer engineered a daring escape. Following the presentation, the audience had the opportunity to participate in the discussion and also ask Zuckoff questions about his research and writing style. NCM has an ongoing partnership with the library, and you'll be able to watch this author series presentation plus many other library events on our community channel. Coming up on Norwood News, Ron Marshalsea updates us on sports as the spring season winds down. Ted Motherhill gets us ready for the Memorial Day celebrations, and we visit the airport for a special event. With Memorial Day just next week, Director of Veteran Services Ted Mulvihill has the itinerary of events.
Hello friends, Ted Mulvihill, Town of Norwood, Department of Veteran Services, with a brief overview of our Memorial Day plans 2023. We'll start the weekend as we always do up here, right here at Highland Cemetery. And there is nothing more beautiful than coming up to the cemetery on a sunny spring morning as we are right now. We will be putting the flags on the graves of veterans, 5,000 plus. That's an awful lot of flags, so we depend on volunteers to give us an assist. And we always do have a lot of volunteers, but if you want to come by, we'd love to have you. It makes you feel good when you do something like that. You know, we invite folks to place the new flags on the grave and then say the veteran's name. And that way their memory lives on. You know, and it's our way of recognizing their sacrifice. So that's Saturday morning. On Monday morning, Memorial Day proper, we'll begin the day with Mass at St. Catherine's with Father Donahoe. He'll say a memorial Mass for us. And then following Mass at 9 o'clock, we'll lower the flag on Norwood Town Hall front lawn to half-staff. Now this is different. Memorial Day, the flags go to half-staff, but only until noontime. They don't stay down the whole day. So at noontime, we'll be putting them back up. At 9:30, we'll go up to Old Parish Cemetery at Howard Street in Washington. We'll lower that flag to half-staff, and then we'll line up the parade units in the order of march. We'll get everybody situated and ready to rock, and at 10 o'clock sharp, the parade will step off. The route of march is Washington Street, down to Winter Street, and then up Winter Street, all the way up the hill, right here to Highland Cemetery, where we'll have ceremonies and observances and proper recognition and remembrance of the day. We invite everyone to come. The weather's going to cooperate, thank goodness, and we're going to anticipate a really, really lovely day full of honor and respect, where honor and respect is earned. So for Norwood Community Media, this is Ted Mulvihill, reminding everyone, NCM, your home for all things Norwood.
The Norwood Art Walk was this past weekend. Admirers of art, store owners, and especially artists themselves were happy to be a part of this special event.
So Mary Paz let me know about this Norwood Art Walk a little while ago, and Mary Paz has always been very supportive and helpful to me and encouraging. So I was like, definitely, I want to participate in it, and she's done a lot of hard work getting it together. Yeah. I paint the skies, and I like all different parts of the sky. I usually like there to be a lot of different colors and lights, but then I do find sometimes the softer tones are exciting. Depends on the feel of the sky, so many times it's more of like, well, what does that image bring to me, to mind? So, and when I work, I'll take a photograph and then I'll work from that photograph. And when I take a photograph, I'll take lots of them so that I can get the different types of light that are coming from this section of the clouds without the light so strongly, and then kind of piecemeal it together. And then when I've started the painting, usually then I'll put the photographs away and just work on the painting and see what needs to come, what needs to be pushed out or pulled out, and what needs to be pushed back. So to kind of really create the space. So sometimes like if people looked at some of my photographs, they wouldn't necessarily know exactly that was that image. But others are more like the actual photograph. Well, I am proud of the moon, this moonshine, bright moon rising, mm-hmm. And I am also proud of this one, because this one was, I felt like it was kind of going more abstract, and really the colors kind of came very differently than I expected. It does bring people out, and it gets them talking about art, and I am a proponent for people talking about art, and I think it also inspires others to start creating art, which is a big deal, actually. I think people start thinking differently and find real relaxation, and it's fun to be creative.
Sky painter Nadia Parsons isn't the only person a part of the art walk. Julie Vecchio of Custom Art Framing was also glad to be partaking in an event like this.
We're just showcasing a few artists, artwork that we have in the gallery, as well as some other artists that we just brought in for this showcase. Just bringing art to the community, or showcasing some of the artists in our community. Custom Art Framing is a custom picture frame shop, And we also offer art by local artists, giving the community and the artists a venue to meet each other. Well, I think Norwood is, in and of itself, a pretty artsy town. The art community at the high school is pretty strong. I think in general it's pretty strong here, so it's nice to kind of keep everyone together.
The combined open studio and art exhibition at the Norwood Space Center had plenty more art on display, where NCM talked to Duncan Reed to learn more about it.
A while ago, the developer here came to me and asked me how we could make open studios a thing, and I said, well, get more artists. And so that's what we've endeavored to do. We put together some people from in and around Norwood, from anything as far as the Norwood Art Association to some other folks. Mary Paz has led the effort to provide an art walk for Norwood. And with the rain, we've had the art walk come in as kind of guest artist refugees from the inclement weather. But she's done a marvelous job of doing all kinds of things. She's a committee of one. And we have also Dave Dupree to thank for helping to get this all together. He's the developer here. Custom art and framing. Julie has some artists up there, more gallery style. I guess they're serving some light refreshments as well, and that was to be the end of the art walk. It was to begin at the library, but the up and down Washington Street was the plan. Actually, we have newly formed a thing called Sono Arts, and Sono is the sort of brainchild of a guy named Chuck White who works up here at the Bieber Archives, and his sort of dream is to create more of an epicenter, sort of a destination, if you will, for arts, innovation, and culture, and to sort of raise the bar for culture in and around Norwood. Various communities, I think, are in need of that, and just, we'd like to see people grow and thrive from that. So we branched off as the resident artists in the Norwood Space Center as Sono Arts. So we are trying to handle events and things like that, or just sort of organically foster the growth thereof, is the best way to put it.
Now we're going to toss it over to Joey DeVingo with school news.
I'm Joey DeVingo, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. The Norwood High School Music Department presented its annual Pops Night on Friday, May 12th. Performance groups included the concert band, concert chorale, orchestra, jazz ensemble, madrigals, Celtic strings, and the overtones performed various styles of music from rock to jazz. As part of the evening, awards were given to seniors for their musicianship and commitment to their performance groups. Ben Warren, National School Orchestra Award, Zachary Smith, Louis Armstrong Award, Jacob Zhang, John Philip Sousa Award, Paul Alberta Scholarship for Zachary Smith, National Choral, Nico Fowler and Charlotte Matthews, Contemporary Music and Jazz Award, Kira O'Donnell and Kang Ewan. In Coakley Middle School news, for the first time ever, a group of 7th grade students went to the Reggie Lewis Center in Boston to compete in an in-person STEM event with other schools across Massachusetts. There were over 700 students in attendance and over 300 industry professionals. The students presented their projects from their computer science class to over 10 industry professionals who provided feedback on how their projects would work in the real world and judged them on a variety of standards. Proudly representing the Coakley Middle School was B-Ball Shea, the legendary goat of the basketball court, made by Shaylin Coyle and Elizabeth Sweeney, Fearless, the Taylor Swift concert created by Maya D'Annunzio and Allie O'Neill, Ambulance Keeping Up with the Expressway by Ellen Baranonsky and Cian Fernandez. There were 4 prizes awarded to the elementary and middle school category, although all of our students are winners and received lots of recognition for their amazing projects. We are proud to announce that winning the Teamwork Award was Ellen Baranonsky and Cian Fernandez, whose ambulance was not too slow for the competition. Congratulations on a job well done. There was a lot of dancing at the annual Balch School Spring Fling Luau. Everyone dressed up for the occasion. Let's check it out. At the Callahan School, grade 4 students had an amazing time at their field trip to the Museum of Science in Boston. At the Cleveland School, with summer just a few weeks away, it was the perfect opportunity last week for a visit by Boston Children's Hospital with Cleveland School students to raise awareness about bike and playground safety. Also at the Cleveland, live raptors entranced the second graders last week. Students learned all about North American birds of prey as part of an educational program presented by Wingmasters Jim Parks. Last week at the Prescott School, students participated in the Fun Run Booster-thon. This was a fundraising effort put on by the parent-teacher organization to help raise money for the school. The PTO fundraisers help cover costs of field trips and bring enrichment opportunities to the Prescott. Students in grade 1 through 5 raised money to sponsor their run. Donors could contribute an amount per lap or a lump sum donation. On the day of the fun run, students ran up to 35 laps around the track. Family volunteers were on site to cheer on the runners and provide refreshments. Laps were tracked and students were able to raise a lot of money for the school. Also at the Prescott, students in grade 1 went on a field trip to the New England Aquarium. After reading informal text about the animals and completing a science unit on animal habitats and animal adaptations, students took their knowledge on the road. With the help of teachers and chaperones, students visited all the exhibits and saw penguins, sea lions, schools of fish, jellyfish, seahorses, and more. They even visited the touch tank and got to pet stingrays. Students enjoyed a nice picnic lunch on the harbor and of course had fun riding on the bus to Boston. Thank you to the PTO for helping fund this important trip for the Prescott first graders. Little Mustangs were inspired this week by famous artists and their artwork. An artist is anyone who creates art. This can be a painter, a musician, a performer, and some friends realized that they were an artist when they were dancers in their recent dance recital. Students used the work of Georgia O'Keeffe, Jackson Pollock, Wassily Kandinsky, and Claude Monet to create their own art. Students learned a little about each artist and engaged in the activities that connected to them. The famous concentric circle art by Kandinsky was a perfect opportunity to practice pre-writing strokes. Students also learned how music can inspire movement, and painting faster beats can make people move faster and make paintings brighter, while slower songs inspire slower movements and lighter colors. Students even listened to music that inspired some robot moves. At the end of the week, art was displayed in the classroom like an art museum for everyone to enjoy and admire. And finally, in Norwood High School news, Tuesday was the last day for seniors. Many of them were in the guidance office just waiting for the last bell to ring. I'm graduating on June 4th, and I was just excited as all my classmates. This will be my last newscast, and I will be attending Northeastern in the fall, majoring in media and screen studies. I want to thank all my teachers who have helped support me, and I have truly enjoyed hosting this school newscast and showing you all the great things happening in our classrooms. Now, let's go to Ron Marshalsea with the latest in sports news.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your Sports Update. The baseball team lost to Holliston and Ashland this week, but beat Medfield 2-0. In the Medfield win, senior captain Jack Cropper pitched the shutout, allowing only one hit and struck out 18 batters. NCM was at the Ashland game with Mark Hoover and Joe Pinola on commentary. While the Mustangs didn't get the win, they were put up by one early in the game from this solo home run from Giacomo Serratori. Mark and Joe also had the opportunity to interview bat boy Matthew Sweeney halfway through the 6th inning.
And the side is retired, but don't go away too soon. We've got Matthew Sweeney with us right now. So Matthew, the bat boy for the Norwood team, we're glad to have you joining us today. How's it going there in the dugout?
Good. So Matthew, we're kind of calling you the brains of the operation here for Mustang baseball. As the bat boy for the Mustangs, you know, kind of walk us through, what are your responsibilities? What do you got to do to make sure that this game goes smoothly?
I kind of have to make sure all the bats are organized and make sure there's no bats laying around the field, because then if someone's running, they could trip.
Yeah.
And that would be really bad.
That you don't need. That you don't need. What's the best part you think about being the bat boy for the Mustangs?
I like coming to the games. They're a lot of fun to watch, and I like being a part of the team.
Yep. Now, you play baseball yourself, yeah?
Not really.
Not really? But if you...
A little bit.
What's the best part about when you do play?
It's like, I just like having fun.
Yeah. That's the best part about any sport, right?
The name of the game,
That's
right?
the name of the game. Look, the Mustangs are kind of coming up, maybe towards playoff time, right? What do you think of the Mustangs' chances this year? You think we're going to do pretty well?
Yeah, I think they have a decent chance.
Excellent. I understand that you do have also a very important role in terms of food that is brought to the. Tell us a little bit about that. What's that all about?
I'm going to the convenience stores, coming home, getting all the snacks, getting ready for the games.
Perfect. So if these guys get stomach aches or whatnot from eating too much candy or whatnot, that's because of all the stuff that you bring, right?
Oh, we know who to blame.
Well, Matthew, hey, thanks for taking some time, because we got action back here and we want to make sure that no one trips over a bat. But congratulations on all the stuff that you do to help these guys out. We've been watching you. You're a very important part of this team, so thanks for everything.
Thank you.
All right, be good, my friend.
That is Matthew Sweeney
joining us. Like I said, if anyone's going to keep this team in control and well fed.
Big shout out to Matthew for joining us Wednesday night, and as of May 23rd, the Mustangs sit at number 16 in the D2 Power Rankings. Their final game of the season takes place the 25th at 4 at Walpole. In more baseball news, the Battle of the Brothers took place last week when Bridgewater State went against Endicott College in the NCAA tournament. Jay and Robbie Wachowski, Jay on Bridgewater and Robbie on Endicott, faced off at Alumni Park in Bridgewater Friday morning. Jay went 0 for 3 at the plate and drew a walk with a couple of plays made in right field, including catching a pop fly that was off the bat of his brother. Robbie went 1 for 4 at the plate with a single and had a solid outing at third base. Bridgewater went on to win the game 4-2 over Endicott, but Endicott would end up winning the regional championship over Johnson & Wales University, beating them 2 games in a row to capture the title. The Gulls will play Ithaca in the NCAA Super Regionals from May 26th to the 27th. The softball team broke a short losing streak with a massive win over Ashland 22-10. As of recording this sports update, they have not played away at Stoughton yet, but as of right now, the Mustangs sit at number 25 in the D2 Power Rankings. The Deadwood lacrosse team finishes the regular season with back-to-back wins over Bellingham 16-5 and Norton 18-5. Their record in their second season as a combined Norwood-Dedham team is 7-10. The girls lacrosse team ends their regular season with a losing stretch of 5 games, bringing their regular season record to 9-9. In the D2 Power Rankings, the Mustangs are number 26. The boys tennis team lost to Medfield and Holliston this week, and they have one final game in the season against Ashland Thursday the 25th at 4 o'clock. The girls tennis team lost to Medfield and Holliston, but picked up their 4th win of the season, beating Millis 3-2. Their record stands at 4-13 at the end of the regular season. The volleyball team lost to Randolph back-to-back to end their season. The Mustangs ended up with a record of 1-16. That's it for the latest in sports news, but before I go, NCM has this exclusive announcement. I have the privilege of introducing Brian McDonough, president of the Norwood High School Hall of Fame, with the 2023 inductees.
Hello, my name is Brian McDonough, president of the Norwood High Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm excited to announce this year's inductees for the 2023 class induction. Starting off, from the class of 1981, Joe Travis. Joe, an outstanding football and track athlete. Joe played on the 1980 Super Bowl team. He was nominated by Coach Joe Catchpole, Hall of Fame coach, for his track ability, where he was an outstanding runner as well as an outstanding track athlete in regards to discus, shot put, javelin, multiple events. From the class of 1984, Andy French. Andy played hockey and baseball. Baseball is where he got all his accolades as an outstanding hitter, Bay State League All-Star, as well as Globe and Herald All-Scholastic. Outstanding hitter, led the Mustangs on the field and in the batting box. From the class of 1993, Denise Carroll Flaherty, Bay State League All-Star in field hockey and softball, as well as a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic. She led the teams on both those field hockey and softball programs. From the class of 1998, Caitlin Mullane, soccer, basketball, and lacrosse. Outstanding in soccer and basketball, she led the Mustangs, also a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic. From the class of 2002, Dave Rixtalis, basketball and track. Dave was a Globe All-Scholastic, as well as a 1,300-point scorer for the basketball team. From the class of 2006, Ryan Henry. I had the good fortune of watching Ryan play here at Norwood. Not only a cross-country runner, outstanding hockey goalie for the Mustangs, where he was a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic, and he was also a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic in boys lacrosse. Pretty impressive to do that in 2 different sports. So I'd like to welcome and congratulate all these inductees. The ceremony will take place on November 25th here at Norwood High School. The public is invited, free of charge. We're looking forward to seeing them. And again, congratulations to all of this year's inductees.
Tune in to NCM on November 25th and watch the live broadcast of the 2023 inductees as they become part of Norwood High School history. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshallsey. And Norwood News will be right back after this break.
The Norwood Planning Board and the Westwood Planning Board held a joint meeting at the Norwood Senior Center Monday night. The joint meeting was called because Mercedes-Benz of Westwood, who is seeking site plan approval, their property sits in both Norwood and Westwood. The site plan was approved with conditions by the joint team. While this was an unusual hearing where 2 towns were involved, it showed how smooth the process can be when lending a hand across the fence. The Board of Health met at the Senior Center Tuesday morning, where it was announced that a new Deputy Animal Control Officer has been hired. Mark Nicholson from Walpole will be mainly serving the Walpole area. He is experienced and was highly recommended by Walpole's town manager. The Board of Health will meet again on Monday, June 26th. The Board of Selectmen held interviews Tuesday night with residents applying for associate membership to the Zoning Board of Appeals. An associate member only sits on meetings when a regular member is not available. Both regular and associate members are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. 5 candidates appeared for interviews. Candidates were Daniel DiSodoro, Eve Hogan, Joanne Powell, Matt O'Neill, and Rob Lamberti. The Selectmen will choose their 2 appointments at their next meeting on June 6th. The 3rd annual Wings and Wheels was held at Norwood Airport this past Saturday. The Recreation Department teamed up with local town departments and Norwood Airport to give the community an experience of a lifetime to check out some special vehicles and airplanes out on the tarmac.
Yeah, we just had our 3rd annual Wings and Wheels event here today with about 1,500 people coming through. Big thank you to DPW, Light Department, Fire Department, Police Department, and NCM. Like as I stated before, we did have a couple DPW trucks, 2 police cruisers, a fire engine. We had couple airplanes throughout the airport, and it was a great turnout. It's a great event. I mean, you always have these families coming out to the airport to watch planes take off, come back in, so why not bring them onto the tarmac and let them get a closer look.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.